Hello everyone, I am Vikas and this is very first introductory class. Okay, and in this class we are going to talk about the Python libraries used in EDA. Okay, and today we are not going to write any code. First, I want you to understand these libraries, why these are needed and what job of each library. Okay, so here I had written one word EDA. EDA means Exploratory Data Analysis. Okay, what EDA means? EDA means Exploratory Data Analysis. Okay, just I'm writing here Exploratory. Okay, data analysis. If I'm doing any spelling mistake, then just you have to ignore. Okay, so Exploratory Data Analysis. Okay, so what is the meaning of this? Okay. So EDA means understanding our data before making any decision from it. What is the exact meaning of this? So this means understanding our data. What is the meaning of EDA? Understanding our data before making any decision from it. Before making any decision, okay, any decision from it. Okay, just I'm giving one very simple example. Suppose I give you a data set of 10,000 students. Okay, suppose I give you a data set of 10,000 students. Okay, these are the 10,000 students, and like I'm asking one very simple question, or even you cannot simply look at the 10,000 row and understand the everything. You need some tools. Okay, and these Python libraries are tools. Okay, like if I'm giving you 10,000 students data and I'm asking to find out some insights, then you can't find some insights very easily. Okay, then you need some tools. So these Python libraries are those tools. Okay, so the next question is, like, you will ask, okay sir, how many libraries are important? So basically for basic to intermediate EDA, we are mainly going to use 6 library. First one is NumPy, second one is Pandas, third one is Matplotlib library, fourth one is our Seaborn, and fifth one is SciPy, and last, that means sixth, is Plotly. Okay, but don't think that all 6 libraries do the same things. Okay, don't think like this कि ये सभी 6 की 6 लाइब्रेरी एक जैसे ही काम करेंगे. Each library has different roles. Okay, suppose I am giving one another examples. Think about a doctor. Okay, think about a doctor. एक डॉक्टर के बारे में सोचो भाई आप. Okay, a doctor may need a thermometer. Okay, a doctor may need thermometer to check temperature. Thermometer. Okay, I'm just writing the spelling thermometer. If I'm doing any mistake, okay, any spelling mistake, then just you have to ignore. What is the use of this thermometer? To check the temperature of patient. A blood pressure machine to check the blood pressure, BP machine to check the BP, and one stethoscope, and the last one, blood test machine. So all these tools are used to understand the same patient, but each tools give the different information. Like thermometer will check the temperature, BP machine will check the blood pressure, and like blood test machine will check the blood test sample like CBC and all. So EDA is very similar. Okay, so our data set is like a patient, and these library, these means what? These NumPy, Pandas, Matplot, Seaborns, and SciPy, Plotly. These all libraries are the our tools. Okay, So our first library is, I'm just adding one page. So our first library is NumPy. Okay, NumPy, this is our very first library. Okay, so NumPy means, what is the exact meaning of this? Okay, so just I'm writing here, NumPy means numerical Python. Okay, numerical Python, numerical Python. So its main job is to work with number and mathematical calculation. So what is the main job of this library? So its main job is to work with numbers, okay, numbers and mathematical calculations and mathematical calculations, okay, mathematical calculations. For examples, okay, I'm giving one example. For example, okay, imagine we have the marks of 5 students. So imagine we have the marks of 5 students, where we have 5 students, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. The names are Ramesh, Suresh, Mahesh, Dinesh, whatever. Okay, and the marks are 50, 60, 70, 80, and 90. Okay, and we may want to calculate like average, minimum, maximum. So what we want to calculate? We want to calculate uh, calculate average. Okay, what is the average of these given 5 students marks? Okay, and the minimum, which one the minimum marks, maximum, pick minimum, maximum, standard deviation, okay, and some other mathematical operation. Then in this scenario, NumPy is very good to these numerical operations. So we can remember one most important point from this. NumPy is a mathematical calculator of Python. So what we can remember, NumPy is mathematical calculator, okay, mathematical calculator of Python. So NumPy is nothing, it's a mathematical calculator of Python, okay, and we will use this NumPy library to diagnose our data. And one more important point you can remember, even many times during the interview, maybe interviewer will ask, okay, then you have to answer. NumPy mainly works with numerical data and array. Okay, NumPy mainly works with numerical data, okay, numerical data and array. Okay, so this point you don't have to forget. Might be during the interview of machine learning, ML engineer or AI engineer, might be interviewer will ask. Okay, then at that time you have to give the answer. So now comes the most important library for the EDA, Pandas. So our second library is, our second library is Pandas. Okay, Pandas. So suppose we have one data set which looks like a Excel table. Okay, just I'm writing here. So suppose we have one data set, and in this given data set, suppose we have total 4 columns. Okay, 4 columns means 4 variable. So total we have 4 variable. First one is student, and second one is age, third is marks, and fourth is attendance. Okay, so suppose the student names are like Ramesh, and age is 20, marks suppose 80, and attendance is 90. Like this, we have total 5 or 6 students, and age are like this, and marks are like this. Okay, and this is looking like a Excel table. Okay, like you can observe from this given data set, this is looking like a Excel table. Okay, so what is the meaning of this? Okay, the what is the meaning of this? So now you want, or now we want to read this data. Okay, and we want to understand the columns, we want to find out the missing values, and we want to remove some duplicates, filter the rows, and calculate the average group of students, and clean the data. Then this is where Pandas comes. Okay, Pandas is basically a library for working with structured data. Okay, this is looking like a structured data, so Pandas is a library, okay, for working with structured data. Structured data. So even we can write like this key, Pandas is our Excel like tool inside the Python. So Pandas is our Excel like tool inside Python. Okay, Excel like, ये Excel ही नहीं है, Excel से थोड़ा अलग है, ठीक. But Pandas can do much more than manually working with an Excel sheet, and it can handle very large data set. Okay, so Python can handle large data set. Okay, very large data set, and perform operations quickly. Okay, it will take very less time, so it will perform operations quickly. Operations quickly. Quickly means it will take very less time. Quickly. So if you ask me, ki sir, which library should I learn first for the EDA? So then my answer will be Pandas. Okay, so my answer will be Pandas. My answer would be Pandas. First you have to learn the Pandas. Okay, why you will learn Pandas? Because suppose you want to read the data and you want to understand the columns, want to find out the missing values, and want to remove some duplicates, okay, and want to filter the rows, and want to calculate the average on all, then in these situations or in this scenario you will use Pandas. So first you have to learn the Pandas. Okay, so Pandas is the first library that you have to learn, and our next library is Matplot. Okay, Matplot library. Okay, Matplot library. So now suppose we have already analyzed our data using Pandas. So now we have some answers, like we know the average of marks. Okay, average marks. We know the minimum and maximum value. Okay, but we have another one problem. Numbers alone are sometimes difficult to understand. Like, okay, for example, I give you 100 numbers, and you can calculate the average, but can you easily see the pattern? Like if I'm giving you 100 numbers or 1000 numbers, and I'm asking कि calculate करो इसका average, Okay, then you can calculate the average very easily. But I'm asking one another question, can you easily see the pattern? Okay, so can you easily see the pattern? See the pattern? So might be you will answer no, sir. Okay, during the calculation of average, I can't see, or I cannot see any pattern. Okay, to solve this problem, okay, so to solve this problem, we will use our Matplot library. So what Matplot library will do? So Matplot library will convert numbers into visual form. So what Matplot library is going to do? So it will convert numbers into visual form. Okay, so it will convert numbers into visual form. You have to remember this point. Okay, so with the help of this Matplot library, we can create bar charts. Okay, for the visualization, bar charts. Later we will discuss. Okay, what is the bar chart? And line graphs, then histograms, okay, histograms, scatter plot, okay, box plot, etc. Box plots, etc. So we can remember Matplot library converts data into the visual form. So we have to remember this point. Okay, what we have to remember? We have to remember this point. The Matplot library will convert numbers into the visual form. Okay, and with the help of this Matplot library, we can create bar charts, line graph, histograms, scatter plot, box plot, etc. Okay, why we are using this library? We are just solving our like problem. Suppose like we had already given one example. Suppose I am giving you 1,000 students of data, 1,000 students of marks, and I'm asking you just calculate the average. Then you can calculate the very easily. Okay, average of the marks. But if I will ask, can you easily see the pattern? Then what? Your answer will be no, sir, no. Okay, no. No. To find out the pattern, to visualize our data, we will use Matplot library. Okay, so I think I'm explaining in a very simple way. And now our fourth library is Seaborn. Okay, so our fourth library is Seaborn. Seaborn is also used for the visualization. This library is also used for visualization. If I'm writing any spelling mistake, then just you have to ignore. Okay, so might be you will ask one question, sir, if Matplot library, okay, this library, if Matplot library create graphs, then why do we need of this Seaborn library? Why we are learning this Seaborn library? Like what you will ask? So might be you can ask कि sir क्या पूछोगे भाई? If Matplot library create graphs, then why do we need Seaborn? Why do we need Seaborn? Actually, this is very good question. Okay. Actually, this is very good question. Like our previous library is able to explain, able to create the graphs and able to visualize our data, and this is able to convert our numbers into the visual forms. Then why we are going to learn this new library Seaborn. So the answer is कि Seaborn is designed especially for statistical data visualization. Okay, so later we will discuss what is the exact meaning of statistical data visualization. So this Seaborn library is especially designed for statistical way statistical data visualization. Okay, data visualization. Okay, so what it will do, so it's make easier to understand the things like distributions. It will make easier to understand distribution. I'm just taking another color. Okay, and to find relationship between the variables, to find relationship between variables means our feature, means our columns. Okay, to understand outliers. Okay, and also it will help to find the data pattern, to find data patterns. For example, suppose we want to understand does time have any relationship with marks. Suppose like I'm giving one situation to you, and I'm just asking one question कि भैया, this is my question. So question is, does study time have और स्टडी टाइम हैज नहीं ही यूज करते हैं, हम थोड़ा प्रॉपर इंग्लिश राइट करने की कोशिश करते हैं. डज स्टडी टाइम हैव एनी रिलेशनशिप विथ मार्क्स. स्टडी टाइम हैव एनी रिलेशनशिप विथ मार्क्स. So what you will answer? Here, okay. Same question I'm asking. Okay, does study time have any relationship with marks? So might be you will answer yes, sir. Here we can find some relationship between marks and attendance. Suppose we have one student who is doing whose attendance is 90%. Okay, Ramesh, whose attendance is 90%. Then have higher chances कि Ramesh can score 80 marks. But suppose we have another student and his name is any Mahesh. Okay, random name Mahesh, and Mahesh attendance is 30%. Then is there any chances कि Mahesh can score 80 marks in any subject or 80%? So your answer will be no. Okay, ये ऐसा कब होगा? Only in the exceptional case. Okay, if Mahesh is very exceptional student, then might be he can score the 80 marks. But in the normal situation, he can't score 80 marks. So here, what we are doing? Here just we are trying to find out the relationship between the marks and attendance. If suppose someone have 90% attendance, then have higher chances that student can score 80 marks. But in other hand, if someone have 30%, 40% attendance, then that person might not be score the 80 marks. Okay, so just here we are trying to find out the relationship between the marks and attendance. Okay, so for such type of relationships, we can use the Seaborn. Okay, we will use this library Seaborn. So simply we can write one very important line here. Okay, I'm just here. I have only 3 to 4 color. Okay, and here I can't use this yellow color. If I will write with this yellow color, then might be you can't see. Okay, so just I'm writing one more statement. The Matplotlib library gives us a basic visualization foundation, but Seaborn makes us statistical visualization easier. So just I'm writing here one simple statement. The Matplotlib library gives us the basic visualization, okay, visualization foundation we can write. Okay, foundation. Here Seaborn makes statistical visualization statistical visualization means with the help of Seaborn library we can like find the distribution, we can find out the relationship between the variables, between the columns, and we can find out the outliers. Okay, even for the detection of outliers I had already uploaded 2 video lectures. Okay, lecture 1 where I had discussed what is outlier, and lecture 2 I had discussed like how we will detect outliers. For the detection of outlier, total we have 2 methods. One is like, definitely we have more than 2 methods, but in the previous lecture I have completed the 2 first method is IQR, okay, interquartile method, and second one is Z-score. So basically I had already uploaded one video lecture on this topic. Okay, how we will find out the outlier, how we can detect the outliers in the our like suppose we have one given data set, and in that data set we want to find out the outliers. Then what are the methods to detect the outliers? So totally we have 2 methods. First one is IQR and second one is Z-score. Okay, how we will calculate IQR and Z-score I had already covered in the last lecture. Okay, so I'm just coming. Okay, so our 5th library is SciPy. What is the exact meaning of this word? This means scientific Python. What is the exact meaning of this? This means scientific Python. SCIENTIFIC, scientific Python. Okay, SciPy means scientific Python, and this library is useful when we want to perform more advanced mathematical and statistical analysis. So when we will use this library, when we want to perform more advanced, like we want to perform more advanced, okay, more advanced mathematical, I'm just checking if the recording is going on or not. If not, then we don't have, I don't have to say this much. Okay, no problem. So when we will use this SciPy library, when we want to perform more advanced mathematical and statistical analysis. And analysis. Okay. For example, suppose we may want to understand the distribution of our data, and like we may want to perform a statistical test. Okay, then in that situation we will use this our SciPy library. Okay, when we will use this library, suppose if I want to calculate statistical measures. Okay, measures, or I want to calculate, or we want to calculate the statistical test, then in that situation we will use this our SciPy library. So don't worry about learning it immediately. For basic EDA, our first focus should be, so for the basic EDA, our first focus should be Pandas. Okay, for basic EDA, our first focus should be on Pandas. First we will learn Pandas, then after we will learn Matplot library, then after we will try to learn Seaborn. Okay, basically Matplot and Seaborn, both libraries are used for visualization. Okay, I don't have to forget this. No, here I had already mentioned like this. Okay, convert numbers into the visual form. Matplot and Seaborn is also using for the visualization purpose. Okay, then later we will learn this SciPy. Okay, then later we will learn this SciPy library. Okay, no need to learn immediately this library. And the last one is Plotly. Sixth one is Plotly. Okay, Plotly library. So this is also a visualization library. Okay, so this is also visualization library. So this is also visualization library. Okay, but the main advantage of this library is this library will give us interactive visualization. Okay, so what is the advantage of this library? This will give us interactive. Okay, interactive visualization. Interactive visualization means, just I am explaining. First I have to write interactive visualization. Okay, this library gives us interactive visualization. What is the exact meaning of interactive visualization? Suppose we have one graph. Okay, with a normal graph. Okay, we with a normal graph we simply look at it, but with an interactive graph, okay, we can move our mouse. So like suppose, okay, I'm just giving one example. Suppose we have one normal graph. Okay, suppose we have one normal graph, then so suppose we have one normal graph, then what we will do? Simply we will look this graph. But suppose we have one interactive graph. Okay, interactive graph. Suppose if we have one interactive graph, then in this situation, okay, suppose if we have one interactive graph, then in this situation we can move our mouse. Okay, so what we can move our mouse over there. Okay, and we can zoom. Okay, we can zoom our graph, zoom in, zoom out. Okay, and can observe or search the values. Okay, even we can explore different parts of graphs. Okay, even we can explore the different parts of graph. When when we have interactive graph, when we will use this Plotly library. Otherwise, and like in this library we can't like we can't the zoom the graph, and we cannot the zoom in, cannot the zoom out. Okay, but in this situation we can move our mouse, we can zoom in, zoom out, and we can see the other different values. Okay. Yes, recording is going on. Okay, no problem. So directly you can remember like this. Okay. Key Plotly's interactive data visualization library. This is interactive data visualization library. Okay. Okay. So the next question is, how do these library work together? So actually this is a very good question. Okay. So don't think of this library as a separate topics. Okay. Like like this example. This doctor example. Okay. Imagine we receive a data set, then simply if we want to perform the numerical calculation, then in that situation we will use NumPy, and we want to load the data and organize, and we want to load our data, organize, clean and analyze the data set. Then in that situation what we will use? We will use Pandas. And if we want to create the basic graph, then we will use Matplotlib library, and we want to explore the relationships between the variable, and we want to find out the distributions and correlations between the variables. Then in that situation we will use Seaborn. Okay. And suppose we want to perform one deeper statistical analysis, if like it's required, then in that situation we will use SciPy. Okay. And suppose we want to create one interactive visualization. In that situation we will use Plotly. So the libraries are different tools in one EDA toolbox. Okay. So today I don't want to remember hundreds of functions. So I only want you to remember what each library does. Okay. So just I'm writing one page summary here. So just I only want you to remember what each library does. Okay. Suppose if I'm writing NumPy, so by default you have to understand NumPy will do numerical calculation. Okay. Numerical calculations. Okay. Numerical calculations. If I will write like Pandas, then Pandas means data handling and analysis. Okay. Pandas means data handling and analysis. Okay. And if I'm writing matplot library, then you have to by default understand कि this is basic visualization library. So this is basic visualization library. Okay. Seaborn, this is statistical visualization library. Okay. Seaborn, this is statistical visualization library. And SciPy, this is advanced statistical analysis. When we will use this, whenever we want to do like advanced statistical analysis, in that situation we will use SciPy. Okay. SciPy means scientific Python. So advanced statistical analysis. Advanced statistical analysis. Okay, the last one is Plotly. Whenever we want to interactive visualization, then in that situation we will use Plotly library. Okay, Plotly. When we will use this library for interactive visualization. Interactive Interactive visualization means, like suppose if we want to zoom in or zoom out of our graph and we want to like explore the different points of our graph, then in that situation we will use this Plotly library. Okay, and remember one simple idea: EDA is about understanding the data, and these libraries are tools that help us to understand that data. So I'm just writing one last statement. Okay, so EDA is about EDA is about understanding data, understanding data, and these libraries, okay, these libraries and these libraries are the tools. Okay, these libraries are the tools that helps us to understand the data, understand that data. Okay, okay, so before ending this session, okay, just okay, now it's good time to end this session. Okay, so bye bye, take care, we will meet soon.